My name's Tom Abbott. I'm going to be hosting this evening and speaking. And as you can see, the evening is dedicated to Brazil and the wealth of wonderful wildlife that we can find there. I'm speaking to you from Cheltenham, chilly Cheltenham this evening, and we have speakers from all around, and I'm sure you're all joining us from different parts of the country and perhaps all around the world. So thank you very much again for joining us. So I'll run through how the evening is going to work. So I'm delighted to be joined by three of my colleagues and fellow leaders and Naturetrek staff. So we have Kevin Elsby, who leads tours for us and travelled out to Brazil on the Just Jaguars tour a couple of years ago as part of a group. So delighted to have Kevin along.
Good evening.
Kevin will talk after me. We have Marcus Felix, who is a very experienced Naturetrek leader who's led lots of our group tours out in Brazil, through the Pantanal, through down to Iguazu Falls, around the southern Amazon. So very, very experienced and has led us tours for us for, I think, over 10 years. So Marcus is speaking to us from Cuiabá, the sort of gateway to the Pantanal there. So hello, Marcus, and great to have you along. And to finish off the evening, we're going to be hearing from Matty. Matt's a colleague of mine in the office at Naturetrek HQ, manages a range of tours and leads them as well. And Matt will be covering talking about the Pantanal cruise, which he led last year. So throughout the show, please feel free to put comments in the chat and let us know where you're watching from. Any questions you have. Good to put the questions in the actual questions and answers box. There's a dedicated box for that, and then we'll run through those questions at the end of the show. We can all you can learn as much as you can about Brazil, and hopefully entice you on a fantastic holiday there. So I'm going to kick off, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the options. There's so many options for a holiday to Brazil. Lots of them centered around the Pantanal, but with other areas to visit as well, of course. So I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview and sort of run through how our Just Jaguars tour works in terms of where we stay and what we like to see, and touch on some other areas that combine with the Pantanal to make a sort of all-round wonderful holiday to Brazil. So I've just started with this slide here, showing a bit of the geography and a couple of different colour blobs there on my screen, just to give you a bit of an idea of things. So here's Sao Paulo, the green dot, and we fly into Sao Paulo on a direct flight to start pretty much all of our tours. I haven't got enough time this evening to cover everywhere that we visit, of course, but just want to pick out a few places. So the red area there, that's the area that we're visiting in the northern Pantanal, and there's Cuiabá, where Marcus is talking from tonight. To the north, that pink area is the southern Amazon. So we now offer a holiday that combines those two areas. There's a short flight from Cuiabá to Alta Floresta, and you can easily combine those two fantastic regions. Way down to the south, down near, on the Paraguay Argentinian border, right down there, that blue blob, that's the Iguazu Falls, and we of course have a tour that combines the Pantanal and the Iguazu Falls. And you can also see there's a yellow dot over to further to the east, and that's the area of the wolf camps where we visit to see maned wolf as part of our Brazil's Big Five tour. So that's just a little bit of the geography, and we combine the main wolf area and the wolf camps in the Paranaíba Headwaters National Park with the Pantanal. So there's sort of those three tours that combine with the fantastic Pantanal. So it's the Pantanal that I'm going to focus on initially here, and it's this huge area about the size of the UK that's represented here by this sort of light green shading on the map. So as I said, we fly into Sao Paulo and onto Cuiabá, and then we access just the very northern section of the world's largest wetland, and it is an incredible place, absolutely teeming with wildlife. So once we reach Cuiabá, we hop into a sort of conventional minibus on the Just Jaguars tour and drive to the town of Poconé. And that really is then the sort of gateway to the northern Pantanal, and we then join the Trans-Pantanera, and we hop into a sort of a more raised up safari truck style vehicle, and then we travel all the way along this 147 kilometer Trans-Pantanera road. And as you can see there's various lodges dotted along the way, along this road, and it really is a safari, a fantastic safari in itself. Traveling along here. So this is the sort of vehicle we use. A really nice view. You can get a bit more elevated, scan out over the surrounding habitat, and really have a great chance of seeing all the wildlife that's around us. And it really is an area that's teeming with life. So any bodies of water that we pass, there's over 100. I think it's 122. Marcus might correct me on the exact number. There's around 122 wooden bridges that we're crossing, and lots of areas of water like this. Be teeming with there's wood storks in here, great egrets. There'll be kukoi herons, capped herons, rufescent tiger herons, various different species of kingfisher. Every one of these little dots here is a Yakari caiman. Absolutely, there's incredible numbers here. 30 to 40 million. The estimates are just crazy, and the number of caiman really are staggering. It's one of the reasons why Jaguar are doing so well, because they prey heavily on caiman in this area of the Pantanal. They've become very well adapted to taking them as one of their main food sources. It's a brilliant tour for photography. Kevin's is a first-class photographer, and he'll be talking to you about his experience. So I'm not going to dwell too much on it, but you can get incredibly close-up views like this of a caiman eating a catfish. And you can all have a moment to try and guess what this caiman has been snacking on. They have a very wide-ranging diet, and this chap has taken on the risky challenge of trying to eat a Brazilian porcupine. It's a bit of a spiky meal there for that caiman. But it's highlight after highlight as we're traveling to our first lodge. So we won't have even reached our first lodge. This is the tallest flying bird in the Americas, the Jaguar stork, standing at around 5 foot tall and a huge 8 foot long wingspan. Absolutely amazing bird, fishing here close to the vehicle. Capybaras are almost at every turn, grazing the lawns of the lodges, any sort of wet areas of the Transpantanal where we're likely to see this species, this endearing animal. You can see there it's got a sort of scent gland on its forehead. It's called a murillo, and it's more enlarged on the males, but it is found on both sexes. If you're wondering what that sort of lump is on the forehead there. So we'll travel along the Transpantanal, seeing all this incredible wildlife, stopping and starting, and then we'll reach Puerto Alegre, where we stay for the first 2 nights of the Just Jaguars holiday, and with this 7-kilometer long private driveway. Really nice mix of habitats: open grassland, gallery forest, lots of wet areas, pools to enjoy and search for wildlife. It is the more basic of the 3 accommodations we use, but we pick it, of course, for the wildlife. Rooms are still air conditioned and clean and comfortable, but it's the more basic of the 3. But it's a fantastic area to explore and just settle in really to the Pantanal and the surrounding wildlife. We'll get out exploring that private driveway, lots of pools and ponds, and hopefully come across one of the stars of the Pantanal, the wonderful Brazilian tapir, an adult and a youngster here. And we'll also get out after dark, doing some spotlighting, getting out with a powerful torch and shining around and hoping to find wildlife that way. Another star, of course, is the giant anteater. I think when I talk to people about Brazil and the Pantanal, just under Jaguar comes the giant anteater, and what a fantastic animal! Around 2 meters long. Half of that is this meter-long, big bushy tail, and this one carrying a youngster. You can see here clearly. And that tail perfect for keeping them cool in the heat of the day and wrapping up warm when it chills off at night. It's a really sought after species, and we actually offer Puerto Alegre. We're able to see them there in some years, and there's also another lodge, Pluvio Lodge, just slightly further north. So this northern end of the Transpantanal is the key area to try and see giant anteater. And we offer extensions for those that really want an extra chance of seeing this species. You can tack on some nights to the Just Jaguars tour to try and see them. Hyacinth macaws, this incredibly beautiful, the world's largest macaw species, with this big, powerful bill crunching through this palm nuts. They breed in the grounds at Puerto Alegre, so we have a fabulous chance of seeing them here, and a whole range of other amazing bird life at every turn. Greater rhea here on the left, they'll be strutting around on the sort of more open grasslands and ranch land that we see in this northern end of the road, and the very photogenic and beautiful chestnut-eared aracari there, member of the toucan family. So after 2 nights at Puerto Alegre, we're back onto the Transpantanero, and we're traveling all the way to the end essentially, and that's where we board a motorboat, zoom up river for around half an hour, and then we reach the Jaguar flotel. And here is an aerial view of the flotel, right in the heart of that core Jaguar zone, where they're at their sort of highest density. We have the very best chances of seeing them from here. So we base ourselves on the suites for the Just Jaguars tour. These are these rooms here, the large rooms, and then there's the standard rooms which we use for some of the other itineraries just next to it, just to give you a bit of idea of what the flotel is all about and what it looks like there. Really lovely spacious rooms on the suites. There's a view there and excellent views from your room, really. But it's action packed. It's morning and afternoon boat excursions and a bit of a rest in the middle of the day. Is the typical day when you're on the flotel. You're spending a lot of time away from the flotel, cruising around the different river channels and tributaries, searching for wildlife. Here's Marcus here with one of our groups out on the smaller motorboat. We have a maximum group of 12, so you sit in 6 rows of, well, 2 rows of 6. So everyone has a great view, has an edge, and it's just a fantastic experience heading out into this incredible environment, searching for wildlife. And it's called the Just Jaguars holiday, but of course, if you've read any of the trip reports or looked at some of the galleries online, you'll see it's so much more than that. And we're enjoying everything while we're here, whilst we're searching for the big target of the jaguar. These are black skimmers. There might be large billed terns, yellow billed terns. There are lots of other species that we could see. You can see here the really long, sort of elongated lower mandible here on this black skimmer. And we might come around the next bend. There'll be a king vulture perched up in an overhanging tree. And we just really can come across wildlife at every turn. It's the giant otter zone as well as the jaguar zone. We've never missed seeing this amazing mustelid. It really strikes you how large they are, around 5 foot long, with a big paddle-like tail. They really are an apex predator. They travel around in big family groups, very noisy and feeding a lot on fish and having very close views. A fantastic species. When we've got a very good chance to find, and we make a real effort to find them and spend time with them as well. But the big aim, the main aim, of course, is to find jaguar on our Just Jaguars tour, and we're spending 4 nights on the flotel in the very best place, visiting the very best areas. So we have a superb chance of often multiple views, and we're searching for maybe a little gap in the gallery forest on the riverbank here, where this beautiful animal is resting. And we have time to see some behavior as well, some different behaviors. You might be seeing these animals multiple times. And this is an adult and a youngster having a bit of a tug of war with the yellow anaconda. This was taken a few years back. Quite a 1 in a million photo there. But we often see hunting, mating, interactions between adults and youngsters. So it really is some breathtaking sightings can be achieved. And I'm often asked, will we try and have private sightings? You have to be prepared in this area to often watch jaguars with other boats, but we will always strike out and try and find our own animals as well. And this is a moment for me when we came around the corner. We went north from the flotel, and before any other boats could come into the area, we struck out on our own and found these 2 cubs swimming across the channel, and with Mum calling loudly from the shoreline on the other side of the river. And of course, as that unfolded, we hung back, and the youngsters bounded up the sandbank opposite, and it was just one of those magical encounters where no one else was around, and we had that sort of that interaction all to ourselves. And we do aim to do that, and we're in the best place for it, striking out before other people coming from further away can get there. So after our fill of jaguars, if there's ever really such a thing as that, we're back onto the Transpantanero, and we're heading back across these fairly rickety looking bridges. I must say, you might think, blimey, I'm not going to drive across that in a large safari truck, and there's a few too many holes, but No, they're very safe, and it's an incredible journey. I'm looking around over this surrounding habitat for lots of wildlife. And we finish up on the at Southwell Pantanal Lodge on the Paxium River here, searching for some fantastic birding. We spent 3 nights here, finishing off with some lovely walks, some more boat trips. You might be seeing sun bitterns here. Wonderful Agami heron is one of the stars that we can hopefully see from the lodge here, as well as yeah, various other species as well. All 5 of South America's kingfishers can be seen with relative ease, and there really is a great abundance of food here for them. This is green and rufous kingfisher. We've also got a chance of green kingfisher, Amazon, pygmy, and ringed. So all 5 species can be seen with relative ease and pose often very well for photos. Just around the lodge, the marvelous Toko Toucan often visits in the morning when seed and fruit are put out, so you can rest and have a cup of tea and relax, sat outside the front of the lodge, and there's these amazing birds coming in at close range. And in recent years, there's a little screamer. We've got a chance of seeing the fantastic ocelot coming in as well. So that's a whistle stop really through the step by step of how the Just Jaguars tour works. And it really is a wonderful holiday packed with highlights. And we also head down to the Iguazu Falls on our group tour, and it's a very good option for an extension as well. And it's just breathtaking to see the falls from both the Argentinian National Park and the Brazilian National Park. And we base ourselves at a nice little jungle lodge in Argentina. And we'll get out and do some really good, really great birding around the falls, and just taking in the beauty of them from every angle. It's beautiful Atlantic rainforest habitat all around the falls. You might see great dusky swift hunkering down on their nest site, actually on the falls. Amazing birds. Or black-fronted piping guan here is one of the specialities we might be able to find in this Atlantic rainforest habitat. Or a Suricata trogon here, beautiful bird that could be flitting around in this habitat. So it's a special place down around the falls, and we'll spend 3 nights down there doing some really great birding and appreciating the magnificent falls. So I'm just going to finish with a few slides on the Southern Amazon and a tour we've more recently set up, sort of combining the Pantanal and this very rich area, of course, with a whole different suite of species and so much to see here. And this is an aerial view of the Juruena River, and the South Wild Amazon Lodge is located just in this sort of larger tract of forest on the left here. So we're based for this leg of the journey. So we will start with 4 nights in the Southern Amazon in this 25,000 acre reserve with lots of fantastic forest and extensive trails and towers to view from. 8 miles of riverfront from the actual lodge grounds, areas to get out and drive around as well, trails around the forest that we can move around. So it's a super base, and some fantastic species can be seen there, and none more so than the mighty harpy eagle. So it was incredible to be running a tour to see the once near mythical jaguar and also harpy eagle, which until recently was incredibly difficult to see. And now they can really be seen in one holiday. So they're doing very well in this area, harpy eagles. This is a juvenile bird and sort of fully grown adult size, but in that juvenile plumage. And you can see from this photo how thick the legs are here and the size of those talons. They'll be feeding on sloths and howler monkeys and very large prey items. And there's been over 30 nests found in the state of Mato Grosso here, yeah, each season, whenever we visit, there's typically a nest that we're able to view from a tower. There's some fantastic work going on when I was there. I met a French researcher who's finding these nests, working with landowners, studying them, and we're able to view and get some incredible encounters with these magnificent birds. I say incredible encounters. This is definitely one of them. This is a youngster that actually flew onto the tower and peered down on one of the on some guests, yeah, you see the size of this animal, and I remember talking to the person in question. They said they were really quite scared of when this huge eagle just landed right next to them. And yeah, what a formidable bird! Again, look at the size of the talons and the legs there. So a fantastic chance to see harpy eagle, and with a bit of luck, an adult can be possible as well. So it's they're really doing well in that area, and it's yeah, it's a real positive story there. It's the tour is titled "The Birds and Mammals of the Amazon and Pantanal." So it's a bit it's more bird focused than the Just Jaguars tour, but you're enjoying everything, and there are some very special mammals to see in the southern Amazon area as well. This white-nosed bearded saki is one of them. The guys there sort of follow the movements of these animals. They're an endangered primate species, and they'll track them and follow them around, know where the fruiting trees are. We have a very good chance of seeing them, as well as grey woolly monkey, the lovely soft fur of the grey woolly monkey. So they're sort of two very special endangered primates that do very well within this sort of fully protected. No hunting happens here at all in this area, in this vast area from the lodge, where we can see these animals living happily in this fantastic habitat. So our groups have very good success with seeing those two species, and also very great success in more recent tours of very close views of tapir. There's an area where we can visit to see tapir in the evening. Often you'll be having dinner, and then a guide will say, "Oh, the tapir is visiting this clearing near to the lodge," and you'll be able to head off just a few minutes from the lodge and have some really close up views of this special animal. So there's lots and lots of highlights to enjoy here. The towers are sort of set within the tree canopy, so you're sort of really in amongst it. There'll be birds flitting around on the branches just in front of you, or maybe some primates moving through. And these towers have been moved to the sort of the best sort of fruiting trees, so we're able to react and give ourselves the best chance of really seeing as much wildlife as possible. So lots of activities to enjoy here. This is an Amazonian umbrella bird with this amazing sort of wattle of feathers here. Is one of the stars in and around the lodge, and there's lots of others. When we're out on the water, we might see the bizarre hoatzin, or stink bird, as they sometimes call them in South America, feeding pretty much purely on leaves. So you can see where they get their name from with that vegetarian diet there. And it's a fantastic location for your large macaws as well. They do very well there. This is blue and gold macaw. There's also red and green and scarlet macaw as well. So it's very good for your large macaws, and a whole suite of Amazonian species that, of course, you won't find down in the Pantanal. So it makes a very good combination, indeed, and yeah, well worth looking at that holiday. So that's just a bit of an overview of some of the offerings, some of the areas that we combine with the Pantanal. Most people will want to, of course, go primarily for the Pantanal, but there are other areas as well to look at, and I've just touched on a couple there. So I'll finish there. This is my last slide there, and I will hand over to Kevin, who's going to talk to you about his experiences over in the Pantanal. Take it away, Kevin.